Goddamn phone. Ricky was about to go to college. No! Can someone, for God's sakes, answer the phone?
Thanks for calling my idiot brother's landline. How can I help
Tell
you?
Poco Volition is dead. We found him on the toilet. The turd was too big.
That's a shame. We really like their games.
Oh, is it this time? God damn it.
We used to bounce like my check.
Pull yourself together, Foo. What the fuck?
Before I got this paper, before we got paid, you know I used to dream of making it so.
We have all gathered here to pay our respects to one of the greatest developers of all time, Volition. They may have gone a little bit nutty before their corporate execution, but we will never forget the bangers they created. From the amazing Punisher to the even amazinger Red Faction. And to the greatest game series ever made, the reason we are all here, Saints Row. Never let these gems be forgotten. Never let Volition be forgotten. Asses to asses, butts to butts. Now would anyone like to say a few words for the newly closed studio?
Yeah, I'd like to say a few things.
Shit! My back! I remember the first time I really learned about Volition as a studio. The date was 2007, I had just gotten a used Xbox 360, and I had 5 games for it at that time. 3 came with it, and 2 I had purchased for myself. Leisure Suit Larry Box Office Bust, and Saints Row. At that time, I didn't know that one of these games would scratch an itch I had had for years. And no, it wasn't crazy. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but when I was younger, I played through a game called Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now, one thing that stuck out to me about San Andreas more than any other Grand Theft Auto game I had played to that point was the customization. Everyone had their own CJ, whether they be fat CJ, skinny CJ, absolutely fucking jacked CJ. They let you customize that character however you wanted. But you see, this wasn't enough for my tiny young brain. Because at the end of the day, no matter how you customized him, he was still CJ. But I thought, what if you could make your own character? Any gross monstrosities that you could think of would be possible. You could play as whatever you wanted to play as. Well, that's where Volition's little bling bling that could comes right in. Saints Row, a game that feels straight plucked from that crazy little idea my dumb brain concocted and put right in front of me. Playable. From that day on, I became a mega fan. Keeping track of every little piece of information I could find about a Saints Row sequel, going to the midnight releases of every goddamn game in the series. I even got my little brother hooked on this shit, skipping school to play the game on the first day's goddamn release, cause who needs knowledge when you got the fucking row, baby?
Can anyone teach me how to multiply?
But now that Volition is gone, and so is probably the Saints Row IP at this point, I still have fond memories of all of those games. Hell, I even play Saints Row 2 at least once or twice a year. But what's sad to say is I actually probably haven't played the first Saints Row game in almost, well, 15 years now. And a lot of it has become a distant memory because of that. So I think it's time I took a look back at Saints Row and see what the foundations of that franchise was made of. We start the game and it drops us right into character customization, which is great, because it immediately shows what the focus of this game is. And I have to say, for a game that came out almost 20 years ago, these customizations are top fucking notch. I mean, look at these goddamn sliders! The only thing really missing from this is the fact that you can't play as a lady in Saints Row 1, which means canonically, if you played as a girl in Saints Row 2, it's only because your dick got blown off. After creating our monstrosity, we're introduced to the Row, where we are immediately thrown into some gang violence by some of the most inept gangsters you've ever seen in your life. I mean, come on, it's not called a park and shoot, it's called a drive-by. But unfortunately, we're doing the most dangerous thing in Saints Row, being a bystander minding their own goddamn business, and we're almost taken out. But thankfully, we're saved by that baby angel Julius, who invites us to join the Saints.
The row ain't safe no more, son. We got gangs fighting over shit that ain't theirs. And you in the way, they don't care if you represent or not.
Julius, this is no time to recruit.
We need all the help we can get, son.
Now what he sees in our disgusting monstrosity, I have no idea. But you can bet your goddamn ass I'm gonna join the Saints, cause you don't reject Keith David.
Welcome
No, anything but Saints Row 2022! Before we can join, we have to get jumped in.
If he wants to run with the Saints, he gotta be canonized.
Very quickly, I'm starting to realize why the Saints are losing. I mean, how are these motherfuckers supposed to fight other gangs when they're so busy fighting diabetes? What the fuck? The melee combat in this game, thankfully, isn't as basic as something like Saints Row 3 or Saints Row Reboot. We actually get combos in here where we're able to block, punch, counter punch, and kick. Now, there's no fighting styles like in Saints Row 2, but you could definitely see that that's where they were building it off of. And thankfully, it's pretty fun.
Who earned your colors today?
That's some impressive shit.
After joining up with the Saints, we're introduced to the tutorial of the game, starting with a ride along with Troy, where we get to pick up our first squeezy piece and take out some Vice Kings. Then, we get to do a couple other tutorials, like learning how to use the Forgive and Forget, doing a side mission, and taking some turf. After doing all the tutorials, we get our big taste of how the combat works in this game. Julius and Troy take us to ambush a turf war that's going on between all three of the gangs.
I got a tip that there's a turf war going on right now. If we crash their party, we could take all those sons of bitches out at once.
And it makes for a really cool mission. All three gangs are fighting as soon as you show up, and things are exploding, people are getting ran over, there's lots of NPCs everywhere. Which, in 2006, is really impressive, especially when you consider they all have ragdoll physics. The combat is pretty basic. There's no aiming down sights, there's no cover mechanics, it's all point, click, and pray. So that makes the combat very fast-paced. And when you add the melee button that allows you to knock the guns right out of the enemy's hands, it makes the combat very visually pleasing. And while we're on the topic of knocking guns out of enemies' hands, you're gonna be doing this a fuck ton, because you will be running out of ammo constantly. The reason for this, out of the 20 weapons this game has, practically 0 of them use the same ammo type. And along with that fact, you can't buy ammo for these guns either. You have to buy the entire weapon anytime you need some extra magazines. And just look at the fucking prices on these things. You'll be bankrupt if you keep buying ammo. But to be fair, I actually really like this mechanic. Constantly feeling like you're scrounging for ammo or resources makes it feel like you're a true street gangster. After we ambush all the other gangs and kill their leaders, we are then treated to the first Saint speech. And this one, to me, is far and away the best one in the entire series.
Listen up, people. I got some serious shit to discuss. Yeah, we cleared out the row. You think for a second that's gonna stop them? Unless we wipe all these motherfuckers out, they're gonna keep coming. And they ain't gonna be happy. It ain't gonna be settled until the Carnales, the Rollers, and the Vice Kings ain't nothing but a memory.
Now they separate each of the gangs out underneath one of the Saints leaders, giving you the option to choose which gang you want to fight at whatever time. Or at least, that is, if you have enough respect. Respect is needed anytime you want to do a main story mission. You can earn respect in the game from performing robberies, killing gang members, and doing side activities. And just like real life, you can boost that respect you earn by being stylish. And let me say this, 2006 Saints Row lets you be styling to the max. They have loads of options for clothing. The game has layered clothing options, meaning you can choose from shirts, coats, undershirts, pants, underwear, fucking shoes, goddamn socks. Okay, maybe not socks, but even fucking clothing options you have options. You can do everything from color to styles of the clothes you wear. You can even choose to have your pants have a rolled up look to fit that full 2000s era LL Cool J look, if you're down for it, dog. The biggest part of bonuses you get from the game is wearing clothes with purple. So, if you didn't want to wear the purple clothes, you're gonna lose a little bit of cred and also my respect, but the game doesn't fully punish you for this. Now on to the side activities. This is one of the things that Saints Row is really known for, is its crazy, wacky side activities. And this is the game where it all started. There are 10 different side activities, which is quite a lot for the first outing. Each of these activities have 3 locations with the exception of one, and each of these has 8 levels of that side activity to complete. So you have to play each of these 9 activities 24 times. That, and there's no retry button, meaning that if you have to do one of these again after failing it, you have to drive all the way back to the objective before starting over, which when I started this retrospective, I wanted to do 100%, but after attempting that, I quickly gave up after realizing how many of these goddamn side activities I would have to do. So let's go through the activities. Snatched, which was the first activity you do as part of the tutorial, is all about saving OnlyFans models from their predatory contracts by offering them matching 401k, dental, and, well, killing their current managers. These missions are actually surprisingly some of the easiest, especially when you consider how hard it was in Saints Row 2. As the missions go on, they introduce more security for the girls, and you have to get more girls. Up to the point where you're having to stop limos to even get these girls, so you know they're good. Beating these side activities gives you several rewards, like a pimp outfit, a pimp medallion, a pimp car, a homie, and a special pimp cane shotgun that sadly I did not get because I didn't know that there were 4 activity locations for Snatched. So once you have the girls, you have to get the girls to the clients. Escort activities are basically driving Miss Daisy, except she's getting her freak on in the back, and everybody's trying to watch. This one's all about avoiding paparazzi, wives, husbands, and detectives. So drive fast while they grab ass. Easy peasy, right? No, cause if you drive too fast, the paparazzi spawn in front of you. So you have to fucking deal with them constantly popping up right where you're driving. Aw, come on. P.S. Avoid the fucking highways. The other thing you have to contend with is the freaky ass clientele.
Yeah, squeeze that shit.
They'll have you doing random ass shit like getting them
I don't
food,
care who followed you. I want a goddamn hamburger.
driving them to strip clubs, hitting jumps, driving fast, and also murdering people. As if these motherfuckers weren't freaky enough. These side activities are actually really frustrating to do and very difficult. So what do you get for this? Well, you get a pair of pants, a news van, an Escalade limo, and a homie. Wow, sounds very useful, right? Demolition Derby, which is pretty simple. You're dropped into a random car and tasked with destroying a number of other cars. This is actually pretty fun. It only has 1 location with 8 levels, so it doesn't become a repetitious nightmare like other side activities do. And as far as the unlocks go, you only really get to unlock the 2 beater cars you got to use from the Derby. Then there's, candy trafficking, haha, where you have to protect a candy dealer while they sell pixie sticks and candy rocks to all the sugar addicts of Stillwater. We good, you two? This one's pretty simple. You just defend the drug dealer from the many different gangs and cops that try to stop them from doing their operations. It's a little tedious, it's a little annoying, but it's not too hard. As far as the reward for doing this mission, your notoriety drops 5% quicker from gang members, and you get a homie. And that's about it. Then there's Hijacker. This one's all about stealing cars and getting them back in time, and it is super tedious and super annoying. Oh, he just went in the water. Even though it had nothing to do with me. He
destroyed it.
destroyed the vehicle.
Fucking hell.
Some of the time limits are so tight, getting to the car is actually harder than doing the actual mission. God damn it! And for all of this, you get 2 vehicles and some clothing. It's really not worth bothering with at all. And off the back of that, you have Chop Shop, which is basically the same thing. You have to steal cars, except there's no time limit. You get a list of cars and you can steal them at your own pace. The only thing there is that you have to make specific modifications to those cars before turning them in. And to be honest with you, I was so burnt out from hijacker missions, I skipped all of those. Racing, which is fine. It's not amazing. The AI is a bit buggy. I think all the other racers may have died. But it's there if you want it. And hand in hand with that, you also get car customization discounts if you beat them. Hitman, which is honestly the biggest pain in the ass out of all of these, gives you a big giant list of targets and possible locations that they might be at. Some of them you can solve like a puzzle, like Jackie, she's an EMT, so if you call 911, they'll show up. Pretty cool. Same thing with John, he's part of SWAT. Piss off enough cops, the SWAT team shows up. Others on that list are random. It gives you a location that they might be at, but you can drive around that whole location and never see them. If you go to the wiki of Saints Row and you're looking through a walkthrough, it gives you percentiles like a fucking spreadsheet. They might be here at this time. Here's what percentage they might be here at this time. It's fucking annoying. Then to add to the annoyance, you need specific weapons for each person you kill. So you can see exactly why I gave up on this pretty quick. Which is honestly a shame. This one actually gives you some of the best rewards, like 50% off all weapons at friendly fire, which will save you a crap ton of money mid-game, and Mr. Wong is a goddamn homie! Then there's an activity which isn't actually an activity. Loan Shark. I thought it would give me a reward for not paying back or dodging them the entire time, but you don't. They just keep bringing more and more firepower with them to collect it, and sadly it's like enabling hard mode for the fucking game and you get nothing out of it. Lastly, there's the staples of Saints Row. Mayhem and insurance fraud. Now I hate to say it, but they aren't as good in this game as they are in Saints Row 2. In insurance fraud, you have to throw yourself into traffic to rack up some cash. These areas are very small, almost like bonus areas in Saints Row 2. The traffic is a bit crazier than normal, running into people and cars. However, they will try their best to avoid you. And on top of that, if you don't press the ragdoll button at the perfect time, it doesn't even count. Then there's this weird issue where sometimes there's no traffic. In combination with the cars going out of their way to avoid you, this is an automatic fail. However, the rewards make it really worth doing. The first one you get is reduced car collision damage, which you are definitely gonna need, reduced bullet damage, reduced explosive damage, and faster health regeneration. Mayhem, of course, is all about doing damage. You want to cost the city a certain amount of money. Unfortunately, Mayhem is really RNG based in this game, because if you don't get an area with a lot of fences or patio furniture, you basically lose. Mostly because cars and people aren't worth much at all, and they will end your combo very fast. Maybe this is some commentary on the fact that people aren't worth much to the government or some shit, but what I do know is it's very aggravating to have to deal with. But if you can suffer through it, you'll unlock the Molotov cocktail, pipe bomb, hand grenade, and the RPG launcher all at your weapons cache. One of the really cool things that Saints Row does with its side activities is it has characters that build out its roster. Each location of the 3 side activities having an intro cutscene that gets you used to a character and their motivations. A lot of these characters would actually go on to play bigger roles in Saints Row 2, like Tobias the psycho hippie and Laura the stay-at-home mother, who would both get together in Saints Row 2 and also help you take down the Sons of Samdi. Then Wong and his assistant would come back and help you take down the Ronin. It really makes the world of Stillwater feel connected, like every character you run into is gonna have a bigger part to play. And well, that's it for the side activities. We now have more respect than we would realistically need to beat the game 3 times over now, so now it's time to jump into the gangs. There are 3 gangs in Stillwater that we'll have to deal with. The first of which is the Los Carnales. They're the Hispanic gang that runs the city. They're the oldest gang in the city, and they're probably the most powerful. Then there's the West Side Rollers, which is the newest gang in the city, and the one that's kind of mysterious. They don't really have any information on them except that they like cars. So they're basically like the guys from the first Fast and the Furious movie. You know, before they went to fucking space. And lastly, there's the Vice Kings. They are in the empire building business. Police and politicians are in their pockets, and they own the largest record company in the city. These motherfuckers are like Death Row Records on steroids. Now the game lets you choose between taking on any one of the gangs at any certain time, so you can pick and choose which ones you do based on the missions you're getting stuck on or based on the missions you don't want to do. However, I never play the game like that. Instead, I always pick which gang I'm gonna fight at which time, and the first one I always choose is the Vice Kings. Now there's 2 reasons for this. I see the Vice Kings as the only true rivals of the Saints, and the reason for that is Julius used to run with them back in the 1970s. They were originally formed formed to take on the Los Carnales, but they got lost in the process and became just as bad as they are. Meaning taking them out before the Los Carnales just shows how much they've failed and the Saints succeeded. And the other reason is Johnny fucking Gat, baby! The poster child of Saints Row, and this is the first iteration. And look how young he is. My God, he's even got frosted tips. Oh my lord. Our first mission with Johnny is to save a bunch of kidnapped girls because human trafficking is bad. That's not the same! Back at the church, we learned that one of the girls that we saved was the sister of the pop star Aisha, the Row's very own claim to fame.
The only time you remember who we are is when you want something.
My sister was kidnapped.
And I brought her back, didn't I?
No, he did.
Bullshit. I told him to do it. No offense.
You see, because at the heart of this little story is a romance between Aisha and our boy, Johnny Gat.
Oh, fuck you, Johnny.
Fuck me. Fuck you!
But before these two lovebirds can take flight, we're gonna have to kill Aisha.
He's being melodramatic.
Well, I mean, fake her death, of course. You see, unfortunately, Aisha is locked in a contract with the Vice King's record company. And that's the reason that they were trying to kidnap her sister to keep her locked in there forever. So we must fake Aisha's death by blowing Kingdom Come records to, well, Kingdom Come, I guess. Now that we've created a little domestic terrorism, we're gonna have to go and destroy Tanya's prostitution ring.
Thinking, we put the hurt on Tanya, we're fucking up the Vice Kings. And she's got an operation in Prawn Court. That's where we'll start. Roll in there and put the murder on anyone you see, customers included.
It's a fairly simple task. We have to take out some gang bangers and stop some people from doing a little bit of gang banging, you know what I mean? Once the prostitution ring is taken care of, we get to take a peek behind the curtain and see how the Vice Kings are handling this.
We gotta talk about the Saints.
Thank you.
Hey, baby. They've taken Prawn Court.
How did this happen?
How the fuck you think it happened? Look, we need to get together here and just...
What we need is for you to shut the fuck up. You feel me?
Yeah.
What?
Yes, Mr. King.
Which is something I really love about the Saints Row series. They really make an effort to show you the villains of the game, so that you know their motivations and who they are as a character before destroying everything they have. It was one of the mainstays of the series. No matter how crazy the Saints Row series got, it always had that little look behind the curtain moment. Well, that is except for Saints Row Reboot, but we don't talk about that. So who are the leaders of the Vice Kings? Well, you have the head of the Vice Kings, Benjamin King, obvious from the last name, who is trying to take his gang and turn it into a legitimate business. Then there's Tony, which is the muscle of the group, who is with Tanya, of course. Then there's Warren Williams, who runs the business operations and the record company for the Vice Kings, and is also with Tanya, but on the sneaky, you know what I'm saying? Then there's Tanya, who is running all of the illegal behind-the-scenes businesses, like prostitution and human trafficking, all behind Benjamin King's back. Back to the game, and Johnny just got some new information about where Tanya's holed up, so we go to take that bitch out once and for all. Unfortunately, it was all an ambush, and we find out exactly why Johnny Gat is called the Pimp with the Limp. We escape out the window and make it all the way back to the church, where Julius will mount a rescue operation to save him.
Every day that bitch gets driven to the construction site in a limo, then sneaks off to get a freak on with Warren before she goes back home to Tony. While she's busy sucking cock, you deal with the chauffeur and take his place. When she's done wiping her mouth, she'll have you drive her back.
He wants me to steal Tanya's limo and pretend to be her driver. And let me just say, this shit's moving a little fast. I mean, I just got back here. We sneak in undercover and find out that our own boys didn't get the memo and are trying to take me out too. We shake our boys and put Tanya down for a little bit of a nap, you know? Then head inside to save our boy Gat. Heading into Tony's room, we'll get our first boss fight, and I only call that loosely a boss fight because he takes a few more bullets than your everyday enemy.
Hey, not to be pushy or nothing, but how about you get me out of this fucking chair?
With Gat saved, it's now time to turn to the art of war. Turn our enemies' allies into enemies, for an enemy who has enemies. Okay, I've never read The Art of War. But the idea is that we're gonna dress up like Vice Kings and piss off the cops so they stop working with them. We do a load of damage to the city dressed as Vice Kings and then break up their little ring by destroying all the cops who are taking payouts. No longer will the Saints have to look over their shoulders to see the blue and red lights. Well, you know, unless they're committing a crime in front of a cop, I guess. What did we do this for again? Oh, right, the Art of War. And then to add just that little extra salt to the wound, we pull a Star Wars and blow up Kingdom Come Records again. This causes a massive shakeup in the Vice Kings, causing the rest of the crew to turn on Benjamin King.
If you hadn't wasted our time sticking your nose up them white boys' asses, we could have owned the whole damn game by now.
I told you before, we ain't getting into that shit.
And why the fuck not? That's where the money is. Man, if you got down with that shit back in the day, the Carnales would have been ghosts right now. But you didn't, did you? You were too much of a pussy then, and you're too much of a pussy now. Fuck!
You forgot who you talking to. My name is Benjamin motherfucking King.
Unfortunately, it seems Julius owes Benjamin King a favor. Would have been nice if he'd have realized that while we were attacking his fucking crew.
Listen carefully, player. Benjamin King just called. It seems like one of his boys got a big head and tried to take him out. He's pinned down in the park right now and needs some help. Now, what happens to King may not mean shit to you, but him and me, we got history. I owe King from way back in the day, and he ain't gonna eat it if I can help it.
But we are now tasked with saving King, and it seems like nobody in his gang really liked him because everybody's out to kill him and nobody has his back. We save King and wreck Warren Williams' car, and he's left to burn in there by that hussy Tanya.
Hey, baby.
The fuck you standing around for? Give me a fucking hand. Hey, yo, Tanya. What's going on?
You're a bright boy. I'm sure you can figure it out.
Bitch, you better not miss, cause if...
Who would have thought that cheating bitch would be such a traitor? Oh right. Benjamin's willing to drop his flags, but only if he can take out the rest of his treacherous crew in Tanya.
Well, you got a choice. You can keep your fucking pride and die right now. Or you can be a man and walk away.
When did you get the balls, Jules?
What's it gonna be?
I ain't walking away.
Fair enough. Johnny?
I ain't walking away until I deal with Tanya.
So we work with Benjamin to get the rest of his crew arrested. Or killed. What the fuck? I could have done that. And now all that's left is to deal with Tanya. But before we can do that, we're gonna have to take the rest of the territory from the Vice Kings by doing the Stronghold missions. These missions are required before completing each of the gangs in the game. There's 15 in total, and most of them are just go here, kill these people, or hold out until a certain time limit. The locations are pretty varied though, and a few of them actually break that formula and are pretty goddamn interesting. Here are some of the ones that I thought were the coolest. Staunton Shipyard, where you'll steal a forklift and push drug shipments into the sea, just like our American ancestors did to the British tea. Minus the forklift, of course. The Abandoned Police Station, which is a rescue mission where you have to save some of the Saints from being tortured. Tidal Springs Apartments, where you'll be going apartment to apartment dealing with corrupt jurors to defend the integrity of law. And lastly, Price's Mansion, where you'll break into a mansion, do a shit ton of murder, and steal a supercar. These are basically like the turf war missions you did in San Andreas, except these are far more diverse, having many more mission objectives than just stand and defend. Now that we have all the territories taken, we can do the last mission for the Vice Kings, and it is hands down my favorite mission in this entire game. Typically, you would do a boss fight for the final mission, but rather than having a boss fight with Tanya, we have a boss fight with her fashion consultant. And to be honest with you, he deserves it. I mean, what the fuck is she wearing? Essentially, we want to scare this guy into giving us the code for the penthouse by having King hold his ass out the window and dink his head off anything we can drive by. Now, the challenge comes in when you don't want to dink his head too hard that he dies, and you also have to deal with the cops on your ass the entire mission. The mission itself seems to be a showcase of the ragdoll physics that Volition had worked so hard on. And let me tell you, showcase they did. Once we scare the code out of him, we now have to fight our way to the penthouse. And it's really cool fighting your way up this high-rise building where there's offices and work locations everywhere. Hell, we even take out some of the call center people just for good luck.
Some guys just never get enough of me.
I've had more than my fill, bitch.
It's over, girl. You're not gonna be able to fuck your way out of this one.
That's cute, sweetie. That's just precious.
Shut up, Meg. Tanya becomes part Transformer, and now we are done with the Vice Kings. Benjamin King goes his own separate way and will go on to write a book about his life and also work for the President of the United States, which is also us in the future. The next gang I take on is the West Side Rollers. This gang is headed up by Lynn, a hot-headed mechanic who has gone undercover to learn what their deal is. And something tells me she's not the only one who's undercover.
Just coming in today. It's not much, I know, so we're gonna make the best of it. Jack the truck carrying the cars before it makes its delivery and take it to Sampson. He'll load up the cars with a few surprises, then finish the delivery.
The first thing Lynn has us do is steal a load of cars that the Rollers are about to get. Then we give the cars back, but not before we put a couple of things in the exhaust that they don't know about.
Now there's a race going down in Chinatown tonight, and I think you should give them some tough competition. I know these guys. If you're in the lead for the final stretch, they're gonna hit the NOS to blow past you. When they do, boom.
Now all we have to do is get those cars going to a fast speed. Think like that Keanu Reeves movie, except reverse, baby. So we challenge the Rollers to a race and have Troy piss them off to make them go boom. Going back to Lynn, she needs to get closer to the leaders of the Rollers, so she devises a fake assassination attempt on the mechanic named Donnie.
Here's the plan. Go and tear up Donnie's shop. Right when you're about to finish off Price's buddy, I'll rush in and save the day. Make it look good, but don't you dare mess up my car.
So we shoot up his mechanic shop, and as we're about to kill him, Lynn shows up and steals him away. We fake a chase for a little while until they're long out of sight, and now we get to meet the leaders of the Rollers. So first we have Donnie, who's actually not really part of the gang as far as I can tell, but is a great mechanic and a friend to the leader of the Rollers, Joseph Price. Joseph Price is the muscle and the face behind the group, and then there's William Sharp, Joseph's uncle and a wealthy attorney who is the actual leader of the Rollers. And he's played by the legendary David Carradine. And while we're on the subject of voice cast, Saints Row has one of the best. We got Michael Clark Duncan as King, Clancy Brown as Alderman Hughes, Meg Griffin as Tanya Winters, Tia Carrere, who's played Nani from Lilo and Stitch, or as I know her, Cassandra from Wayne's World as Lynn, Michael Rappaport, who's been in a lot of these videos and I just can't seem to escape him.
Garbage. You don't sing, you don't dance, you got no talent. 0.0 talent.
As Troy, Keith David, who I've mentioned loads of times in this review already, as Julius, and last but very not least, Daniel Day Kim as Johnny Gat. Hell, Saints Row is a series has brain broken me so bad, some of these people I can't even see without thinking of their roles in Saints Row. You're Johnny Gat. You're Johnny Gat! You're Johnny Gat! You're Johnny Gat! Needless to say, it's an amazing cast, especially for the first outing of this series. Back to the game, and we overhear that the Rollers are trying to hit a convoy.
So we're finally hitting that convoy, huh?
I don't know what you're talking about, Donnie.
Well, sure,
I don't know what you're talking about, Donnie.
Oh, right.
So we're gonna protect those trucks because fuck the Rollers, I guess. I mean, really, we could've just stole it our fucking selves. What the fuck are we doing? Then the Rollers get a little desperate and decide to steal a bunch of cars so that they can make some money.
So we lost the parts the buyers wanted, and there's no way another shipment like that is gonna roll through here again anytime soon. Lynn and I did the math, and there are a couple of key cars that we can strip down to get the parts we need.
And rather than letting them steal it, we're gonna destroy those cars before they get them. And honestly, at this point, it just seems like we're fucking with them without a reason. They're not into the drug trade or human trafficking as far as I can tell. I mean, it's like you wanna race your mom's shitty Honda, but you're wearing blue, you're dead. You're wearing blue next to a mechanic shop, you're dead. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? And it seems like the writers may have felt the same way. The only way to fix this is to let Lynn get kidnapped.
Go fuck yourself.
Temper, little girl. Look at you. All tied up pretty as a present.
So we kill a shit ton of Rollers and fight our way into the bar just to have the game teleport the enemy right behind us. I mean, there was nobody fucking back there! Lynn is shot and William Sharp pushes us into the fucking river.
Did you hear that asshole, Donnie? He said I was his girl.
We make it out, but unfortunately, Lynn is lost for good. If only she had titties as big as mine, maybe she could have made it out too. Now it's time to get revenge on William Sharp, so we track his ass down and blow his fucking car to smithereens. Back at the church, we get word that Joseph and some rollers are gonna come take out the Saints.
What's going on?
Word is, every roller that Price could find is headed this way.
How much time we got?
Shit, man, I don't know. My man says they're moving pretty fast.
Alright, you coming with me. We got some rollers to fuck up.
But Julius pulls that Uno reverse card and we go and take them out instead. We start gunning for Joseph, but unfortunately my dumbass wasn't wearing his seatbelt.
You should buckle your seatbelt. Just the same, one getting away ain't bad.
And now we only have one mission left to do for the rollers. But in honor of our fallen Tokyo Drift... Oh, wait. My bad, she's actually Chinese. I think it's a good time to talk about the driving in Saints Row 1. Now, I might sound a little kooky here, but I think Saints Row 1 may have the best driving of the entire goddamn series. The vehicles all have their own handling, and they all feel different to drive. And just like some of the Saints, the cars all have weight to them too. You can even customize them, unless they're unique, of course. It's mostly just visual with the exception of nitrous and hydraulics. And you know it's important. How are you gonna call yourself a Saint if you don't dress purple, drive purple, and live purple? I will say the only thing crappy about the custom cars is I hardly ever got to use them. Mostly because the missions start with you driving someone else's car, or the car gets left at the start of the mission and you never see it again. Because when you're playing the game, you don't want to have to go by your fucking safe house every 5 minutes just to pick up a car. There's also the wheel woman that'll drive you around. However, you have to tell them to turn manually instead of them just following the fucking waypoint, so you're basically driving yourself, but in a much crappier way. So they're basically useless. Now to get back to the West Side Rollers, and Joseph has gotten the rest of his crew and they're trying to skip town. But we ain't about to let that happen. Unfortunately, this is one of the weakest boss fights in the entire game. The first thing you'll have to do is destroy all the cars on the back of the truck that Joseph is driving. Which would be hard if Osama bin Laden wasn't their fucking mechanic. These cars don't last but a goddamn second. And once you destroy them all, they detach from the truck itself, but the truck doesn't get any health back. So all the explosive damage you've been doing has been happening to the truck. Hell, a fucking gust of wind could destroy this bitch.
That was a hell of an explosion. You okay, player?
I got ran over by a motherfucking truck. What do you think?
Oh, quit being a bitch.
Now we're down to one gang, the Carnales. They're headed up by Dex, who is the street-smart gangster that, spoiler alert, goes on to be the greatest wasted villain in Saints Row history, becoming this big-time CEO for Ultor and trying to have our character killed in Saints Row 2 several times, just for him to get away and not be seen until Saints Row Get Out of Hell, where he's already fucking dead. So keep that in mind, as every shitty mission he gives you, you'll never get the revenge you so deserve. Dex has us destroy a bunch of drug labs and steal one of the shipments to get under their skin. The Los Carnales...
It's not the Los Carnales, it's just the Carnales. Los means... fuck it.
Sorry, the Carnales are run by 3 leaders. Hector Lopez, who is the head of the gang, and also the brains behind its operations. Angelo Lopez, who is the second in command and younger brother of Hector, and is also a verified cuck.
Luz, we'll go out tomorrow.
But Angelo...
Coño, Luz, cállate la boca, ¿ok? No me oíste.
Señorita, a moment. If Angelo is busy, I can take you out tonight.
Mr. Orejuela, I couldn't.
Nonsense. It would be my pleasure.
Jeez, what's up with all the cucking in this game? Victor Rodriguez, who is the muscle, and I do mean the fucking muscle. This motherfucker's so strong, he made a man shoot himself in the back with his own fucking gun! And because we've pissed them off, they're coming for us. They start attacking the row and they bring some serious firepower. I mean, these motherfuckers got rocket launchers! We clean up the row and Troy pulls a page from the Greek playbook. He wants us to hide inside one of the trucks we stole earlier.
Now that we have things in the row under control, we can get back to the plan. I had that truck you jacked fixed up good as new. load it up with a crew, and drive right into the Carnales production plant. When you get inside, hop out and take the place over.
Only to jump out before they even let us in. What the fuck was the point of this? And now we've taken one of the bigger drug labs from the Carnales, and they're not gonna be happy about that. Now the Carnales are backed by the Colombians, and currently they have an advisor, Manuel Orjuela, who is staying in Stillwater and is currently seeing all the damage the Saints are doing to them. Because of this, they're now questioning Hector's leadership abilities.
What about this gang from Saints Row? A bunch of mullahs, a nuisance, nothing more. Your father would have killed them all by now. I am not my father. I've noticed.
So he's gonna try to meet up with the Colombians to patch things up, which gives us the perfect opportunity to be an assassin, taking me back to the old COD 4 days, all gillied up, but I ain't aiming for no arms this time, son. With Hector dead and the Colombians' drugs being confiscated by the police, the LC are having a real bad time. Dex, being the ever-enterprising snake, decides that he can probably convince the Colombians to join our side.
We kill Orejuela, and the Colombians will be all up our ass. Let's figure out what his game is first, and then we'll decide what to do. You know where he's at?
Yeah, well, I'd start with the strip clubs.
Cool. All right, man. Let's go buy this drug lord a lap dance.
Going behind the rest of the crew's back without letting them know a thing, just for us to wind up getting ambushed by Victor and his crew. What a fucking great plan, Dex. Now, this mission is quite annoying. Victor is completely invincible and cannot be destroyed in his Humvee, and his boys are constantly spawning right in front of me wherever I'm trying to fucking drive. But through the grace of the Lord and the prayers of Johnny Gat, we finally make it back to the church, only to have Dex get shoot out by Julius for going behind his goddamn back.
Go to the Colombians without me.
We didn't even get to meet him, Jules.
And don't call me Jules, you haven't earned it.
Fine. Julius, you put me in charge of the Los Carnales. Shit, now you got me saying it.
Dex, do your job. Don't think you're bigger than you are.
But the LC aren't done yet. They want revenge, and they start attacking the church along with Victor himself. With the help of Julius, Troy, and Dex, we wipe out the LC until Victor shows up. And unfortunately for him, that Humvee is no longer invincible, but this motherfucker takes a lot of bullets to put down. But now we only have one LC left to deal with. Julius has worked out a deal with the Colombians. As long as we can get their drugs back from the cops, they will work with us.
If we can get back all the drugs the cops seized, the Colombians are willing to work with us exclusively.
Also, have I mentioned that Troy's a cop?
Get the drugs back from the cops? How the fuck are we gonna do that?
We're taking out the police station.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
Cause Troy's a cop. He's a cop. He's a cop! Stealing back the drugs isn't too hard. We basically just have to hold out while the cops keep showing up, and then drive the truck back when we're done. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And now all we have to do is meet up with Orjuela and shake hands and sign on that deal. But before we can, Angelo jumps in and starts shooting up the strip bar, just to miss every single person he was aiming for, even though he had the jump on us. What a dumbass! Dex now wants to make a house call to Angelo and take care of him once and for all. We fight our way through Angelo's mansion, taking out all his guys just to reach his room and have him dive out the fucking window. He starts driving away in his car, and Dex and I chase off after him, but unfortunately Dex won't allow me to shoot him for some reason. And Angelo winds up getting away because Dex is a terrible driver. And now Angelo is trying to leave the city, but we can't let that happen, so we take off after his private jet. This is a very odd boss fight. It's basically on rails, and you're at the mercy of the shitty driving from the AI. You'll have to kill a bunch of guys with RPG launchers before they take you out, and eventually you'll get the opportunity to start shooting at the jet itself, which goes down super easy because it only takes a couple shots with the RPG launcher.
Oh my god!
What are you doing here?
I was supposed to leave with Angelo.
So what's in here? Guns? Money? Some uncut shit? Shoes?
Actually, they're this season's new.
Bullshit, that's last year's fall collection.
That's not true.
With Angelo grounded for good, the Saints now run Stillwater.
Third Street owns this town. Now that's not to say shit didn't cost. And I ain't talking about what happened to Johnny's leg or losing limb. Those two were soldiers, they knew the risk. Hell, Johnny gets off on it. We crushed a lot of families, player, and someday they're gonna holler at us. But believe me when I tell you, we did the right thing. With the rollers wiped out, Benjamin gone, and the Colombians in our pocket, there ain't gonna be a need for a gang war ever again. And in the end, that's gonna save a lot more lives than we took. So relax, player. You earned yourself a break. You've impressed the hell out of me, son. And I told the crew, you're gonna be my right hand. Hold up. Some Barry just turned on his flashes. Yeah, player. I think I'm gonna have to call you back. This may take a while.
Or so we thought. Julius has now been kidnapped by Chief Monroe, and he wants us to kill the current mayor, Marshall Winslow, in order to get him back.
This is Chief Monroe. If you want Julius back, listen to what I've got to say.
So we steal Marshall Winslow's campaign bus and park it on the fucking train tracks, which is a pretty brutal way to kill somebody, especially when we have no idea what they've done or why we're doing this. But it seems the chief is not exactly a man of his word and is refusing to return Julius even after we killed the mayor.
But I don't think I can let Julius go until you do a little more community service. We'll be in touch.
So we decide to take out the chief of police by ambushing him at the funeral for the guy we just killed. And let me tell you, this mission is very fucking hard. So because no one knows what Chief Monroe actually looks like and Troy is weirdly absent from all of this, we now have to take out every police officer at the procession. Add in the fact that the FBI in this game are complete fucking crazy psychopaths who will run you down any second they get, and you'll see why I failed this mission so many goddamn times. Once we kill Monroe, we actually find out who's been pulling the strings this entire time.
Hello there, young man. This is Alderman Hughes. That was quite a message you sent at Winslow's funeral. And trust me, I heard it loud and clear. Now, I'd like to set one thing straight. It was Monroe's plan to strong-arm the Saints. Personally, I've always thought you and I could have a much healthier relationship. Now, we've had a rocky start, yes, but why don't we fix that? Come over to my fundraiser tonight. Julius will be there, and between the three of us, I'm sure we can work something out.
You see, during our gang wars, there's been this ongoing election to figure out who's gonna be mayor, between the current mayor, Marshall Winslow, and Alderman Hughes. Now, if you've been paying attention, you'll know Alderman Hughes is actually involved with both the Vice Kings.
Damn good work, Tony. I'll stop by after I pay a visit to Hughes.
And the Rollers.
I'm Jack Armstrong in the newsroom. William Sharp, wealthy local attorney and major contributor to the mayoral campaign of Alderman Hughes, is dead.
Which makes me think that he was originally gonna have those two gangs deal with the mayor, but when we took them out, he had to rely on blackmailing us through the connections with the PD. And with his only running mate out of the picture, he's now gonna win the election for mayor. Hughes then invites us to join him on his yacht, where he plans on killing us.
Now, I suppose I could try to pay you off. But really, what's the point? You just say no. Or in your case, stand there looking intimidating, and we'd be right back to where we started. So I figured I'd cut the middleman and get right to the point.
Yo, can you speed this shit up? I want to go to Freckle Bitches.
You're going to die here, son. Make no mistake about that. But if it makes it any easier on you, I'll be sure to thank you in my acceptance speech.
But before he can, a bomb goes off on his yacht, destroying it completely. And now the credits roll. The funny thing about the ending to Saints Row 1 is it was originally not supposed to play out this way. You see, the original vision was that it was supposed to end on a whodunit. That's why it shows all the characters we affected at the end of the game. Originally, it wasn't supposed to be Julius that did it. The animation department was supposed to get mocap of Julius getting beat up by the cops and then running away. But due to an error with the animation team, they only got him mocapped looking at his watch.
And there's this one shot where it's Julius standing looking at his watch and looking at the boat like, what the fuck is this? Like, I'm like, oh my god, like what happened? And they're like, what do you mean? Like in the script it says that he's running down an alleyway, broken and bloody, like he just escaped capture and he's running for his life. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, he's supposed to be like scared. Like, what happened? And so, but then they changed it in the final cinematic. It's him like, yep, throw that shit up. And so, like, oh man, I guess Julius is guilty. And what ended up happening was in the mocap shoot. They had the animatic. It was in T-pose, and it was Julius was in T-pose, and they had him sliding down a road. And so the guys at the shoot were like, well, fuck, dude, we don't want to go and have to capture this guy like running. What's the pain in the ass? It was having him standing there looking at his watch. He's in T-pose. And so they did that. And it totally changed the whole franchise. We're like, holy fuck.
And I want everyone here to say thank you to that animation department, because without them, Saints Row 2 wouldn't have been made. Thank you, animation department, for fucking it up. Thank you. And that's it for the story of Saints Row 1. And honestly, it's pretty good. It's not overly long, it's not overly complicated, it's perfect for just a beginning story to really get you pulled into this world. And while some of the characters may be a little cliche, Troy, they are for the most part pretty compelling. The combat for an open world game in 2006 is probably the best of its time. All the guns feel pretty good to use and they have relatively good enough sound effects for them, with exception of the Molotov cocktail. The tiny little area it makes. Jesus Christ, that thing is fucking pathetic. The driving is also really good, especially for Volition's first open world game. I mean, hell, look at True Crimes. It took 2 games for that series to get good driving.
Actually, there's only been 2 True Crimes games.
Yep. Then there's the city, and I gotta tell you, it's really, really fucking amazing. The highways really bring it together. I love this, and it's a shame that they didn't really come back in Saints Row 2, cause it really helps the world and city feel real. The diverse locations, which have their own poor and rich areas even inside those tiny little pockets. The diverse NPCs who are both reactive to the world around them.
Hughes is planning on cutting state employees' salaries again?
And also to you as the player, including the actions you've taken.
Thanks for getting rid of those rollers.
Well, don't you look...
And the clothes you're wearing.
I love how you've been wearing that stuff. Are you like a sloppy seconds charity case?
Is pretty fucking wild. The incredible amount of interiors in this game, which even compared to the other Saints Row games is pretty fucking awesome. All of these things and more make this one of the best open world games, hands fucking down. There's also collectibles in this open world, including tags and CDs that are all over the maps. And while we're talking about CDs, let's talk about the soundtrack for this Saints Row. Now, it's nowhere near the incredible soundtrack of Saints Row 2, but it has some bangers of its own. There are over 130 songs in Saints Row with 12 radio stations. And there are some songs from Iggy Pop, Ghostface Killah, De La Soul, Twista, the Aquabats, Motion City Soundtrack, and Fall Out Boy. And this game has one of the coolest features that didn't come back to a Saints Row game until Saints Row 4, the MP3 player. Basically, this allows you to play all the songs you like while you're on foot rather than being stuck in the car. Saints Row also had a multiplayer mode with 5 different game types, including Gangster Brawl, Big Ass Chains, Blinged Out Ride, Protect the Pimp, and a co-op mode with several missions. So why, you might ask, am I not showing footage for all of this? Well, it's because no one is on it anymore, which is a shame because I remember it being quite fun. And that's the full package, baby. Saints Row was the first open world game to be released on the 7th generation, and it has always been called a GTA clone. Which, after the release of San Andreas, it's easy to see why. However, when GTA 4 came out and it was missing a lot of the features that I enjoyed about San Andreas, it became kind of a disappointment for me. Not saying that GTA 4 is bad, I think it's an amazing game, but with its heavy emphasis on story, things like character customization, car customization, and side activities were all nerfed or completely gone. While Saints Row, on the other hand, in many ways improved on those things, giving you a shit ton more customization, giving you way more side activities, and making things that I enjoyed like Turf Wars and San Andreas way more dynamic. Which is why Saints Row felt so much like a spiritual successor to San Andreas. And moreover, it's probably the reason that Saints Row was able to stand on its own for so long compared to all the other open world games that were trying to ride the coattails of Grand Theft Auto's success. The other thing that's really incredible about Saints Row is that after almost 10 years of being released, it's still very playable even today. And it's honestly a testament to how incredible Volition used to be as a developer. So, would anybody else like to say anything? Where is everybody?
God damn it, you old fuck! Everyone left an hour ago!
I go out every night and do the town up right with some good-looking thing. A drinking and a dancing till the broad daylight. Yeah, I'm a gathering lights to swing. Mama keeps